Cheers. Welcome to Little Big Thumbs. My name is JP, aka Big Papa Thumbs, and today we are sitting here with the designer of Dwar7s Winter. Luis, welcome. Am I saying your name right?
Yes.
Right now we are going to be talking about not only Dwar7s Winter, but the expansion that is currently on Kickstarter, which is the Lost Tribes. Is that correct?
Yes.
Excellent. For folks who may be completely unfamiliar, for someone who may not know anything about the game, can you tell us a little bit about what that core experience is?
Okay, so Dwar7s Winter is a tower defense game in its core. So each player originally play as a dwarf, a dwarf tribe, and we are all in this huge fortress trying to defend it together.
Right.
But in the first time we released it, there was another level on this, which is like you are trying to defend it together, but at the end of the game, if you do so, someone might win by making more points. So you will be becoming the king of this kingdom because you helped the most during those hard times. In this campaign, though, we still have this element there.
Okay.
But we added a family version so you can play with kids and families. So it's completely co-op version.
Obviously, Little Big Thumbs, family gaming is the core of what we do here. So what sort of age range are we looking at for the family version of the game?
I would say usually 7 and up.
Okay.
But the changes in the mechanics are few actually. But it streamlines the gameplay a little bit. So in Dwar7s Winter, originally you could do like 5 actions and you could pick and choose. Like, oh, I will place a dwarf and then I use my second action to move. Or I used to play music and then everyone follows and stuff.
Right.
This time what I did is I added a card that organizes your turn. Like, it's like a player aid, but it's not because you must follow.
Okay.
Like, you have no options. Like, you will place 3 guys now. Then you will move 2 of them. Then you will play music. Then you do, like, and at the end you will resolve the stuff. And also, previous version of the game that you can still play nowadays, but you use only your dwarfs.
Right.
Now you can use other players' dwarfs.
What?
So you resolve the stuff. And if they are helping you resolve the stuff, they can even chip in the resources.
Oh, okay.
So it becomes way more cooperative in that way. You will be revealing more disasters to balance things out. So like there's a give and a take.
Yeah.
But the general thing is like it's way easier to teach the game for new people. So you could even if you're not playing with kids, okay, I'm playing with my friends. First time I played this way.
Right.
So now you understand how you fight the monsters, how you cooperate, and how you do everything. Second play, okay, let's try to do this, and also to see which one of us will win at the end. And then you do this slightly changes,
Right.
and you are good to go.
Wow, that sounds really exciting. I always think I don't know, but especially as someone who has family and time is kind of a limited resource in my life right now, the ease of entry into a game is so important.
Yeah.
So lowering that barrier, and Dwar7s Winter already was not a terribly complex game to jump into.
Yeah.
But lowering that barrier to entry at all is a fantastic move. I'm excited to see what those changes will look like on my own table.
Yeah.
Now, to change gears a bit, as yourself as a creative, you're not only the game designer of the Dwar7s series of games, but you're also the artist and the illustrator.
Yes.
You do everything for this game. What does that look like? Is there a general time frame that it takes you to go from concept to a draft? What does that journey look like for you as the creative behind the game?
So for each game will be different, but I think like no game of mine took less than a year to be ready. Some take a few more than that.
Yeah.
But to me personally, I like to start with a team. and then grow into the mechanics. And when I am comfortable with them, then I go to art.
Right. Great. Great. Thanks for sharing that information. So we've spoken now about what the core experience is. We've talked about the family game. We've talked about your journey as the creative force behind it all. But what about the Lost Tribes? So if someone is already familiar with Dwar7s Winter, what is a Dwar7s Winter veteran going to find in the expansion content?
So the Lost Tribes is a new expansion for all previous and future games in the Dwarves line.
All of them?
Yes. So that's the crazy part of developing. So when we first introduced the Dwarves in Dwarves Fall, later on Kickstarter we did an expansion named the Empires, which brought 3 different tribes.
Yes.
And one of these was elves, but then crystal dwarves and ogres.
Right.
A few years afterwards, we did another campaign for Dwarves Fall, which was the Trolls Breach.
Right. Yes.
And it had the Half-Bloods. The Half-Bloods were part of the Dwarves original campaign as the solo mode. Like the solo mode, you would play with the Half-Bloods and stuff, and then they were like fully playable in Trolls Breach. And this was Dwarves Fall. And then we did Winter, and we did Spring. And in Spring, we brought the Elves to both Winter and Spring.
Okay.
In Dwarves Lost Tribes, we are bringing the other 3 tribes at the same time. Like the yes.
To all of the games.
To all of the games.
Wow.
So then they are asymmetric tribes, and they have like very different lore in between themselves. And also like their play styles are different, and I had to tag the play styles and the lore together throughout the seasons. So for example, dwarfs, the crystal dwarfs, when they first appeared in Dwarves Fall, they had like monster cards, and they were a little bit more aggressive than usual dwarfs.
Yeah.
And in the text, they were perceived by the other dwarfs as being like, oh, what are those guys? And now I'm talking about them again, but in their own perspective. And the way I do this is like, okay, they are not aggressive. They are not just choosing the dwarfs other than monsters. Like they think that they are more pro monsters than pro dwarfs, I would say. And this is the fun part of doing this. It's like, okay, I already created this, and now I am changing it, and I'm showing different rules, but I'm reusing the same components throughout multiple games. So you'll have like the same dwarf species and the same stuff that you can bring to all games.
Right.
But I have rules for specific games, and of course cards for specific games. You cannot use the same cards in all.
Great. So just to sum up what things look like here, we've got your base Dwar7s Winter game as far as the current campaign goes. The base game, which is a cooperative game, tower defense with the option for a family mode thrown in. And then the Lost Tribes, we're adding in asymmetric powers to Dwar7s Winter.
Yes.
That can also sort of jump between all the other Dwarves games.
Yes.
And right now that includes Dwarves Fall, which was the original Dwarves game, Dwar7s Winter, which was the second one, and Dwarves Spring, which just landed maybe a year ago.
Yeah, we ran the campaign 2 years ago, but we delivered like last year.
Right. And that leaves, I believe, one other Dwarves game. Are you allowed to talk about Dwar7s Summer?
Yes. I've been working in Dwar7s Summer for like a few months already, almost. and I have a pretty good idea of what I wanted from it. So that's when I was discussing about Summer with Konstantinos last year. I said like, okay, I want this, but before we get there, we should do this tribes things, because then I could like put all pieces together, say like, okay, so this evolves to that.
Right. So I guess what is diverting from the current campaign? What's your favorite part of building a game from the ground up?
I love creating and drawing characters. Like I think that's my favorite part personally.
Right.
But I also love the idea of making some like concept into a mechanism that remembers it. Like okay, like putting like building a castle. Okay, like how do you get resources? How do you do that? Because there's like you create like experiences that are very different from what you were showing.
Right.
But you feel like that way. Like oh, I feel that I am doing something. I'm growing something. I like this feeling and the stories that you can create over a game session, basically.
Right, right. And as a consumer, as a fan of the games myself, you can really see that that passion come out in having the core experience and then seeing that narrative grow with the extra factions. Certainly that plays out in asymmetric powers, as you've done with Dwarves Fall. And so that's really cool that that's your favorite thing. Because it definitely sort of it rises up. You can see it. You can see that excitement grow into a game. Well, that's great. That's great. So much information that we've learned today in this conversation. So Dwar7s Winter is currently funding on Kickstarter right now.
You still have time to go there. We are having a very different type of campaign right now, which is like we are running challenges every day. So the goals are tied to engagement, not to money. So you go there, you do something, you have a little bit of fun, come back next day, there will be something else to be done. So it's been super fun so far, and I hope everyone is enjoying it.
Fantastic. So if you're unfamiliar with the Dwarves series of games, Dwar7s Winter is a fantastic one to jump into. I highly recommend going to check out the Dwar7s Winter campaign. You can pledge for the base game. If you've already got the base game, you can pledge to get yourself the expansion. And if you just want to jump in, you want to do a cannonball into the Dwarves pool, there certainly is going to be a pledge to get everything that's available for this game. Highly recommend checking it out. Luis, thank you so much for joining us for this conversation. And if you like this video, please leave us a comment. Let us know if you have any questions for Luis. We can pass them on to him and maybe have a conversation in the comments of this video thread. If you like what LittleBigThumbs is offering in general, please hit that subscribe button. Join us for the journey. And until then, this is JP. Thank you again.
Thank you so much.
We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.